This is what people don't tell you about running your own indie animation studio by yourself. Hi guys, my name is SpyY, and if you're anything like me, you've probably grown up with shows like Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z and looked at those shows and thought to yourself, what would it be like to make shows like that? Or maybe you've seen more recent shows like Gravity Falls, The Owl House, Steven Universe, and so many more like it. Or maybe you've been inspired by the likes of Jaden Animations or The Odd Ones Out or any other indie creator that started out as a solo creator and eventually built up an animation team to help create videos for them. And so the question revolves around, what is it like to create content like them? What is it like to create an animated series? What is it like to be an indie animation creator? Well, coming from an indie animator myself, I can tell you that doing it myself takes a lot of dedication, a lot of lowering my expectations, and just a lot of letting go of some of the stuff that I want to achieve. Like, I personally wanted to create a 30-minute long anime episode and realized that that is feasibly impossible without a large amount of money and a small team of animators. I mean, heck, to be perfectly clear, I'm currently working with a lot of indie creators and freelance animators, and we can barely put out a 2-minute animation within the span of like 6 months. Like, seriously, I've been working on this particular animation for like ever since like before February, and this was supposed to be done in February, and it's already July as recording this. So, yeah, not going so well, guys. But honestly, that's just the thing that I've gotten into my own head about, is I have wanted to reach the status of somebody like Jaden Animations or somebody like The Odd Ones Out, where they are able to semi-consistently put out content that is high quality, that is very simplistic, that is entertaining, and it's in a style that I love to do, which is talking and rambling and telling stories in this type of storytime format, hence the name. And so I figured, why not combine that with something that I love, which is anime, and thus my team of animators are specifically trying to work in an anime-esque style, although, if you can see by the actual pictures, we still have a long way to go. That being said, what exactly is it like for me to run this animation studio? Well, first of all, for the majority of the animations, I am doing a lot of, well, actually, not even a lot. I'm doing like pretty much most of the work myself. Like, yes, I have freelance animators that I send shots to, but all in all, like, I am doing most of the storyboarding, most of the key animations. I get a lot of the stuff back and do revisions. I have to do cleanup and tie downs for shots. And then, of course, different animators have different life responsibilities, and so some of them have stepped away from the channel, some of them are still on the channel, and of course everyone has different skill levels, so I can't just have 30 people be key animators and they have no experience doing like in-betweens, or I can't have like 30 colorists and have nobody to do like storyboards. That's just not feasible. And so what I've done is I've basically handpicked a selection of people from my followers and from people that I have either worked with or personally reached out to, and I have basically assigned each of them to specific roles based off of their skill and what exactly they prefer to do. So I have a couple of people who are really, really good with keyframes, and so I have them under the first key animator tag. And so I have others that have more experience in coloring and specifically Clip Studio Paint line art, and so I put them under that. And then I have a select few that I have specifically for the more complicated animations, and you know, that's just how it is. That's just the way I want my videos to look. But for the most part, everything is kind of simplistic animation, simplistic cell shading, and just stuff that I really, really want my shows to look like, which is sort of this older style of animation, or specifically the older style of anime where there's not really that much movement in certain scenes like talking and lip sync scenes, but then I go on to the more complicated shots which are given more frames and more love and time. And that's just the stuff that I loved watching back in the day, and this is the style of anime that I want to produce. But, you know, it's really hard because I've set that expectation of, like, I want to reach this level of anime quality, and then I look at the actual final products of what I make, and like it just doesn't seem that good, or like it's just not there, or I'm missing a few steps, or I'm missing bits of information. It doesn't help that like 99% of like anime know-how is kind of gate kept, or like hidden behind paywalls, or hidden in like small unknown channels or small gems of channels like Dong Chang or Studio Bulldog, or just it's basically very, very hard to find information on how to make anime. Like one of my long-standing sources for anime information was the studio Tonari Animation, and unfortunately they have basically privated all of their previous animation tutorials, and so I'm kind of left stuck with like what I have right now and no real way to move forward without spending hundreds of dollars on a Colosso course or a Udemy course. And so where does that leave me? Well, you guys might not have noticed because I was consistently posting on a scheduled basis, but I actually took a vacation for like 2 to 3 weeks. I was actually in the Philippines, and while I was there, I was browsing one of the bookstores, and I found this book that caught my eye, which is called Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. Now, that person is actually the author of a similar book, which I read, which is called Steal Like an Artist. But I flipped open one of the pages of the actual like book, and one of the biggest things that really opened my eyes is like a thing that I've kind of held myself back with in terms of consistent content, like posting every single day or posting every single week, is the idea that everything needs to be this perfectly packaged YouTube video. Like there's so many YouTube videos online that say like how to make this perfect video, or how to, you know, use the algorithm to your advantage. But in all honesty, it's like I don't really think that's my style. I'm not really the type of Mr. Beast, like in your face, lots of captions, lots of edits, and you know, I that's just not me. And I've tried to do that, and somehow it gained me a following on TikTok, which is partially how my subscriber count got to where it is. But it's just something that really opened my eyes in this book is you don't have to post perfect content in order to be consistent. You don't have to consistently put out super high quality content. You can just put out something simple, something meaningful, something that shows your process, shows your behind the scenes work, shows something, because human beings want to see your process. Human beings want to show you, they want you to show your work. And that's something that I've actually seen in my recent TikTok growth, is that the videos that blow up the most on my TikTok and now my YouTube channel are educational content. It's videos that teach people what I do. And granted, I don't know everything, but that's part of the book as well. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to show your work and show how you got to where you are. And yes, there are other people that know better. There are other people that could teach better. But honestly, this is my personal process. This is my personal way of doing things. And I really, really, really love when people comment that I've taught them something, or that I have like showed them a way of doing something that they've never thought of doing before. And that's just absolutely amazing. And that's one of the biggest reasons I started doing more educational content on this channel, is because I want people to learn just the way that I do things, the way that I think, the way that I approach things, because maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but maybe there's this one person that's watching my videos or stumbles across my channel that sees the way I do something and suddenly something clicks for them. And all of a sudden they're able to create content or better their skills or just improve in general. And that would make me the happiest person in the world. And that's pretty much it. I already rambled a lot, and yes, I'm still working on the next animation. Just subscribe and turn on notifications to know when that video actually does premiere. But if you want to see a more in-depth tutorial about my process of running an indie anime studio by myself, check out the video on screen now.